Use the row widget to display multiple widgets horizontally on the x-axis. Use the column widget to display multiple widgets vertically on the y-axis. And use the stack widget to display multiple widgets on top of each other on the z-axis. In this video, we will create 3 simple designs with the column widget, and we will also look into detail at how all the properties of the column widget work. If you are new here, subscribe to my channel and make sure to watch this video till the end. Let's get started by creating a column widget. Therefore, you go to your build method and then you create within your children property all the widgets which you want to display vertically under each other. This column widget has then a lot of different properties at which we want to look at right now. So in our case, we have here 3 widgets under each other every time the Flutter logo. And therefore we can use here this MainAxisSize, CrossAxisAlignment and MainAxisAlignment to display then our widgets differently in our column. Let's start with the MainAxisSize. Here you can choose between min and max. With max, the column will stretch to the maximum size it can get, and with min, it will simply shrink all the widgets to the smallest possible size. Next, we want to look at the MainAxisAlignment, and the MainAxisAlignment works only if you have set the MainAxisSize to max. And here you can choose between start, end and center to place your widgets then to this specified location. And we also can use space between to equally distribute all the space between our children widgets. We also can use space around, and then the free space is distributed between the children first of all, and also half of the space is then going to the end of all of our children and also to the start of all of our children. And lastly, we can set it to space evenly, and here is the space then equally distributed between all of our children. And secondly, also we have the same space at the beginning of our list and also at the end of our column. So in total, we have here 6 different properties with which we can align our widgets vertically. We also have a cross-axis alignment, and here we can set it to start, end and center. And this time it is then aligned here horizontally. And lastly, we can set it to stretch, and this will then stretch horizontally to the whole space it can get. So this was right now an overview of the properties of the column and how they work in general, and we want to look at them right now more practical and create some practical examples. Let's get started with the first design. So we want to create here one of these cards, and like you see, we have here a text, and under it we have another text. And therefore we have here vertically 2 widgets, and we can place here one widget under the other widget, and if we like we can also place here other widgets below. To create this design we go to our build method, and here we create a new method build background card, and inside of this method we want to create then our column. Inside of this column we want to create right now these 2 texts, and therefore I start here with the first text, and this is then our cottage text. And I also give it here a different text style so that it is bigger and also in bold. And secondly, you also can add to your children list also another widget. And here we simply place then our second text inside. And if you like, you also can give it here again a different text style. If you look right now at the design which we want to accomplish, you see it looks already pretty good. The only thing is that we have here in our design more space between our widgets, and also here this background card which we also want to include. Therefore, let's start with the space between our widgets, and therefore we simply go here in between of both of our widgets. And here we want to create then a sized box and give it a height of 8 pixels. And this will add then 8 pixels in space under our widget or between our widgets. Furthermore, we also want to create right now our card. But before we do this, we simply shorten here our text. And you see that this text here under it is centered. And this is the default property in our column, that all of the widgets which we place here inside are centered. However, what we want to have is we want to align all of our widgets to the left side so that it looks here like this. And therefore you can simply go to your column, and here you have this property CrossAxisAlignment, and we set it then to CrossAxisAlignment start. And now if I hot reload, you see that it is all aligned to the left side. Let's also look again at our walkthrough, and here we had this cross-axis alignment center, and if you simply set it to start, then you see that it is here aligned to the left side, and this is exactly what we are doing here right now. Next, we also want to set here our background image, and therefore we simply need to wrap here our column inside of a container. So simply click here and wrap with widget, and then you type here inside container. Inside of this container, you can then set a decoration, and here inside you can then define the background image, and therefore you simply add here this image property with a network image, and therefore I have also created here a URL, and this is basically a URL which is pointing to an image in the internet, and this is what we want to display right now. And if I hot reload, you see that our image is now displayed here in our UI. Next, we want to display our image also properly behind our text, and therefore I simply change here first of all the color of our text to a color of white. So I simply go to the text style, and here I change it then to a color of white, and I also do the same thing for the other text. And now if I hot reload, you wouldn't see the text because they are white. And secondly, we go to our decoration image, and here inside we add then this box fit cover. And now you see that it covers here the whole width which it can get. And also our text is now on top of our image. And secondly, we also can go to our container, and here inside we can then set the width and height of our container. And I set it here right now to 200 pixels so that we have 200 pixels in height, and also to the maximum width. If you compare right now our images, it already looks really good. So our goal is also to set here some padding around, some space around our text. And therefore you simply go here inside of your container, and here you can then add a padding. And I set here right now 24 pixels around, which means we add here 24 pixels to the left side, to the top side 24 pixels, and also to the right and bottom side. This looks already much better. We also want to make our image rounded, like you can see, and therefore you have here in your box decoration a property which is called border radius, and here you can set it then to a value of 16, for example, and this will make then our image here rounded. If you put here a higher value inside, then it is even more rounded. And lastly, we want to darken our image a bit so that we can see the text on top of it better. And therefore you have here in your decoration image a property which is called color filter. And here you can then set first of all the color. So we want to put it to a black color, and I also give it some opacity so that we don't see the whole black color only. And also set here the blend mode to darken. And now you see that we have here a more dark image. And if you set here the opacity to 1, which means 100%, then you only see here black image. And if you, for example, put 50% inside, then you see more of the image. And even if you put 25% inside, then you see even more of the image. Let's also create our second design. And in this design, we only want to create here this bottom card. And like you can see here, we have an icon, a text, and another text, and all of them are displayed vertically, which means we have here one widget, and under it we display another widget, and under it we display again another widget. To create this design, we go again to our build method, and here we create then a new method, build icon card. And inside of this icon card, we create then our column widget. And now we need to simply create this icon, this text, and this other text inside of our children list. And therefore here inside we create first of all our icon. And with this we display here already this small icon. We also want to change here the color of this icon, and we also want to make it a little bit bigger. Under our icon we want to display another widget, therefore I simply add here another text widget also inside of this list. And this has then this text active, and this looks then like this. And lastly we add here this other text, and this is also then displayed under it. You also notice that we have here more space between our widgets, and therefore we can use the same trick as before. We simply go then between the widget which we want to have, for example the active and the 2 times a day. And here in between we want to add then the size box, and here you can then set 8 pixels in height. And now we have here more space between our widgets, and we also do the same thing for our icon and our active text. So here we also want to include some space. Therefore I add here this size box, and I set it to 16 pixels. And with this, our design looks already pretty cool. However, we also want to add here this container around and also give it some background color. To create this background, we simply wrap here around our column widget another widget, and this is the card widget. And now that we create here a background color, we also can set our text to a white color. Therefore, I simply go here to the first text and I set the color to white, and also for the second text, I set it to white. And with this, we have here right now our card and the text is white. And we also want to change then the color of our card, and I set it here then to this blue color. Our design is almost finished. We also need to make our box a bit bigger, and then we are almost done. To do this, we simply go to our card, and here inside of our column, we want to wrap our column inside of another widget, and this is the container widget. And then you can set here the width and height of your column, and I set it here to 160 pixels by 160 pixels, and then it looks like this. We also want to align then our content, our widgets here to the center of our widget. And how you can do this is by simply going to your column, and here you have then this MainAxisAlignment property, which you set then to this MainAxisAlignment center. And now if I hot reload, you see that our content, our children here are all aligned to the center. So if we look again here at our walkthrough, then you see that we had here the MainAxisAlignment at start, and you also can set it to end or center, and this is exactly what we are doing here, and we set here exactly this MainAxisAlignment. And to polish our design a bit up, we also want to make here our card rounded like it is in our design. Therefore, you simply create here this shape within your card, and then you can create again this rounded rectangle border, and I set it here then to a value of 28. And with this, our container is here also rounded. And the last design which we want to create is here this burger design, and therefore we want to add here an image, and under it we want to include then our texts. So we basically create here one of these widgets which displays then an image, the text, all of them under each other. To create this design, we go to our build method, and this time we create then a method buildBurger, and inside of it we want to create then again a column. Around our column, we want to wrap then a container, and this contains then a black background color. And this means that later our column, our content, gets here this black background color, which we also have here in our app. And now we want to simply create here these three texts under each other. And this is pretty simple. We go to our children property, and here inside we create then the first text, the second text, and also the third text. And now if I hot reload, you see that we have here all of these texts inside, and we also have here this black background color, which we have defined here with this container around. Again, like before, you notice that we have between our text every time some space. And therefore we simply go here, for example, to this text and this other text, which is here displayed. And then we add here again a size box. And now we get here some more space. And we'd also do the same thing for this other text. Right now our text is by default aligned to the center, and we want to align it here to the left side. And therefore we simply go to our column, and here inside we add this cross-axis alignment to start. And with this, all of our widgets are aligned to the left side. Next, we want to create here our burger image, and this is pretty simple. So we go here on top of our text, and on top of our text, we want to create then an image widget. And here I put then a URL to this burger inside. So this is an image inside of the web. And now if I load it, then you see that we display here our image in our application. And now you also can make this image a bit smaller. Therefore you can set here the width and height. And now you see that our image is smaller, and it's also really important to always set here this box fit, and I set it to cover. And lastly, we also want to add here some space around our widget so that it is not here directly at the corner. And therefore you simply go to your container, which is having here our column. And inside of this container, you can then add a padding. And with this, we add here 12 pixels around our widget. And this looks then already much better. And lastly, we also can make our widget here rounded. Therefore, you simply wrap here around your container another widget. And this widget is then called clipRect. And inside of this, you have a property which is called border radius. And here you can then set the roundness of your image or of your container. And with this, we have finished here our third and last design. And by the way, if you want to get here this whole source code of this application and of all of these examples, then you can get it with the first link in the description. And with the second link, you can get access to my Flutter courses, where I teach you how you can become a better and more efficient developer. Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel here to get the latest news about Flutter. And see you soon. Bye.